I can't hear you.
There we go. Mic check 1, 2. Reminisce show.
Yes, sir. There it is.
Carrying the traditions of Sankofa, man. We got to go back and collect what is useful and bring it into the future. This is the Reminisce show every Tuesday, 7 p.m. live Eastern time. I go by Logic, and I'm here with the one and only
Mindbender Supreme. What up, family?
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir, man. Hip hop is, doing its thing, man. Lots going on in the news. Lots of things happening in Africa. Lots of things happening in Toronto, around the world, man. And we're gonna get into some of these things. Before we get into that, man, we always gotta, check in, man, because that's something that we need more of within our community, man. Spaces for us to, support each other, man, and just to kind of, just reflect on the things that are, impacting us, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, so that space for authenticity. That's what we need, more spaces of authenticity, man. So how you feeling today, brother?
I feel pretty good, brother. I feel all right. I feeling optimistic a bit. Yeah. I just got some groceries, did some exercise yesterday, clearing my head. Had a decent Mother's Day. Talked to my moms. My moms and my family's good. And yeah. I talked to all the mothers in my life. Shout out to all the moms and all the
Peace.
mothering folks. Yeah. Had a good day. How about you? How you feeling?
Yeah, man. I just woke up from a nap, so my vibe is I'm just kind of like getting back into like the flow of things. I didn't realize how like tired I actually was, and I started thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, the past couple nights, I've been going to bed a little bit later, but waking up early. I always wake up early. I'm up usually by like 5:30, 6 o'clock, the latest. But yeah, it just hit me this afternoon where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna lie down for like 45 minutes, and I'm glad I did, man. I feel like my body needs that. It's just one of those reminders that like rest is revolutionary. And with people like us who are just on a mission, man, we've got to make sure that our body is right. However, I did see this interview with Ibrahim Traore and how he only gets like 2 hours of sleep, and he's trying to cut it down to like 1 hour. Like I'm like, yo, this is like next level. I'm like, I'm definitely not there.
He said 2 hours.
Like,
Batman sleeps 2 hours, yo. Oh my!
That's like just next level stuff. So salute to him for the people who can do that. I know I'm not there.
Wow.
I'm not sure if I want to be there, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's all about function. Like, like after you work out, your body needs to, like, you can't work out 7 days a week. Like, you do need to like rest to heal, and kind of, you need to fast. Certain, like, like systems need to be off to be at their optimum capacity of function. Like
100%, man.
Yeah, but yeah, if he's figured out some code to like his body can function and still be, because he needs to take care of himself. Like, we need you to live 100 years, brother, as long as possible.
Telling you, man.
So, yeah, man.
You.
Yeah. Wow. 2 hours. Damn, that's crazy. Well, yeah, I mean, the strange thing is I'm sleeping like 4 or 5 hours, man. I wake up after 5 hours of sleep and my body is fully recharged, and it's 5 a.m. and I'm like, I don't want to get up at this time and do things. So I go back to sleep for 2 more hours.
That's real, man. That's real.
It's called the sleepless elite. There's a thing I read about. If you type up the sleepless elite, there are people in history who have needed less than five hours or less to function. And Barack Obama was one, Margaret Thatcher, I think George Bush, like Thomas Edison, even Donald Trump, to be honest. Like, it's not all like positive people. It's just, humans. But well, yeah, no, I haven't been able to sleep I haven't slept 8 hours straight in like probably 5 years. Not
yeah.
So I did some research. I'm like, why do I keep waking up at like 4 hours? So it's called the sleepless elite.
Interesting. Yeah, man. You got your biological clock, man, that just does its thing, man. So word, man, word. All right, man. So there's a few things happening, in hip hop. We can definitely start with Tory Lanez, man. Like, because Toronto and whatnot. Like I saw some of the posts online saying that Tory Lanez was stabbed several times and was rushed to hospital, and it seems pretty wild. Looks like he's going to be able to recover from that, which is a blessing, because that could have been his demise right there. Being stabbed like that, and I don't know like what the cause was or whatnot. It's the first of any of this kind of nature that we've heard from Tory. Like he seemed like he's been in pretty positive spirits. I've heard stuff of him like supporting other inmates with lawyers and things of that nature for cases that seem a little iffy or whatever. Keep him positive, and this is something that's pretty heavy, man. So just shout out to his family and everybody who's in support, and because I don't wish none of that on anybody, man. That's just kind of wild, So I don't know,
That's
like
it.
what's
Like,
your take on that? What's some of your reflections?
same thing, yo. Like, no matter what, like, I just don't wish a violent death on anybody in hip hop, and
Yeah,
like, I just just violence is just very unfortunate, and I hope he heals from that. It's just,
right.
it's rough. It's rough to hear, and yeah, like, yeah, hopefully it's squashed, yo. Like it's unfortunate being in a situation like that, because like you can't, can't escape. So it's like, damn, I hope the situation doesn't continue, because he's got, seems like 4 or 5 more years and stuff. So hopefully it's not an ongoing thing that he's got to deal with, and yeah, hopefully people can move past it and he heals up and it's a one time. So, so yeah, man, but
Yeah,
it's rough. It's rough. He looked like he was quite healthy. There was a picture of
for
him.
sure.
Yeah, he looked like he was working out and stuff. So blessings to his body health. So yeah, it's just rough. I hate violence as shit.
Yeah, man. True indeed, man. True indeed.
Yeah,
True
but
indeed, man.
speaking of jail and shit, though, the Diddy trial has begun. It
Mm.
has begun, and oh,
You've
oh.
been keeping up with that, like,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's only on day 2 right now, and there's some testimony that came out. Cassie has testified today,
okay,
and I don't know how long she's going to be on the stand, but she did testify today, and a few of the things she
yeah,
said have come out. I will mention the most PG of the revelations. She said that the
mm,
longest freak off that she had experienced, was 4 days long,
okay,
and yeah, she was saying it was very difficult on her body to recover with fluids and a lot of rest, and yeah, it was. She's revealed some of the. There's been some very hardcore testimony and asking some of the things that Diddy like kind of forced her to do, and she has revealed them. I'm not going to say here, but it's out there, and whew, it's rough. It's
mm,
unsettling. Very very graphically sexual stuff, and it's very
yeah,
non consent based, and yeah, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. Diddy has refused his. Apparently, he got a plea bargain, and they didn't talk about what the prosecutors offered him. I don't. Who knows? It's like,
mm,
admit to something and you get 5 years. Admit to something, you get 10 years. Admit to something, you get 80 years. Who knows? Because there's dozens and dozens of cases. So don't even know. Nobody knows what the plea bargain was, but Diddy has rejected it. Therefore, it's like all or nothing kind of. Well,
mm,
essentially, he could be found not guilty of just from the jury, or he could be found entirely guilty and then get the full maximum sentence that the judge hands down. So the gambling is beginning.
it's not looking great, man. It's not looking good, man. And oh
Yeah.
man, I feel like some more things are just going to be revealed. That's going to be pretty shocking. I feel like there's just a lot because people forget. When we and something that hasn't been spoken about as much, which is like the hip hop police. People forget about the hip hop police, and that was literally created if I'm not mistaken, specifically for P Diddy, I think Jay-Z and Nas. I think those were like the three main, like, initial, and then of course it expanded into other spaces. But
Everybody.
with that being said, we're talking like the 90s. We're talking like the late 90s. Of this type of surveillance and documentation, or concern of certain kinds of activities that you know yeah. So
I think his name was Derek Parker. Um, I think Derek Parker was the first hip hop cop, the first guy who was. I'm pretty sure I have a book on him actually. Um,
okay.
yeah. No, he wrote a book. I definitely read it. I'm 99% sure that was his name, and he was the first leader of the task force of like the
Mm,
hip hop. I remember him, like, he pulled out this binder and he just went, he's like, look at this. And he just flipped through and it's just like it looks like a record label. It's just like Ja Rule, DMX, Jay-Z,
yeah.
whatever. And it's like real name, drugs, places they go to, cars they drive, clubs they've done. And it's like, yo, you guys look like hip hop heads, but you're not hip hop heads. Like, this is just like rap info. This is CIA intel on. And like, this isn't because you love these guys the way we love them. You guys are just like fucking hunting these guys. This is just surveillance. This is creepy.
It's like they got it like they're collecting baseball cards,
It was straight up like
in
baseball
the
cards.
binder.
But it was like, yeah, it was like rappers whose freedom we want to fuck with. It's like, yo, this is not a good
Man,
look. This is like, this isn't. It wasn't like it was all hip hop, and it was like it wasn't all criminals because like Ja Rule is in there beside Jay-Z. Be like, are you stupid? They're on the same label, but Ja Rule didn't deal a bunch of coke.
yeah, yeah,
Jay-Z dealt a lot of. They're not in the same category. Like, what are you
yeah,
doing? You're like just criminalizing our culture.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
it's yeah. Well, like here we go again. Like some things never change.
it would be interesting to see like an updated version of that. Like what kind of surveillance that they have now, because compared to like the 90s versus now, with technology, there's all kinds of like surveillance like measures and whatnot. So I'm sure like the archive is crazy. They're just sitting on stuff. It's like, yeah, we've been following you for a couple decades. Like that's crazy. So, hey man, y'all be careful out there.
Be careful out there. Actually, speaking of, I'd like to quickly make a little mention of something that came to my attention. Yeah, the trial for Pat Stay starts today for the
Oh,
guy who
yeah.
I hate saying allegedly, but I suppose you got to say allegedly. So yeah, so the trial for Pat Stay starts today, and yeah, hopefully justice comes for that case. It's just really difficult, complicated, and saying all that to say, apparently there was two plainclothes police officers in the bar the same night that Pat was murdered, and
Oh.
like fucking cops, yo. Sometimes they ain't doing what they're supposed
Oh,
to be
no, Nova Scotia, man. What's going on? I mean, I be hearing some things, man. I be hearing some things,
doing. Yeah,
from my coaching and brethrens and whatnot. But like, this is crazy, yo.
yeah, it's
Hopefully
crazy. So
justice gets served.
peace and justice to for the fallen, yo. Pat stay forever though. So yeah, man,
Mhm.
that's happening. Yo, there's actually a little something just came to my attention. A quick little shout
Mhm.
out. Apparently, it's the 100th anniversary of the births of Malcolm X, Franz Fanon, and Patrice Lumumba. This year is the 100th anniversary of it, of all three of their births. So
Wow. Yeah, man.
yeah,
Yo. And it just shows, and these are people who have like, really stood in integrity and contributed a lot, where like a lot of their works, has even shaped a lot of my perspectives. And I'm just so
hell yeah,
grateful for their minds, that their thoughts and perspectives were documented, and having them like their spirit immortalized, essentially, where you know and still to this day, like I'll watch like Malcolm X's interviews, and even read like Franz Fanon, and like what they're talking about back then when it comes to like race relations, or just the intercomplexities of humanity. back then it sounded kind of crazy and just like far out there for a lot of people. But now when you you read it now, it's just like, yo, these guys had a crystal clear view and understanding of society. A crystal clear, like it's like actually perfect. It's prophetic. You know what I mean? That's like these were the prophets, really. You know?
Prophetic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I love Malcolm's like he just cuts through all the bullshit, cuts through all the politics. It's just like if you don't see me as a fucking human being, fuck you, and you're full of injustice and evil. Everything you do is lies.
yeah.
Period.
That's it, man.
And just like there's no spinning it, there's no twisting it. Like you can't escape this observation.
100, man.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. What else is going on out here?
Well, we could talk about our event that we got to attend last night, or yesterday
True.
yesterday afternoon.
That was a good look. Thanks for putting me onto that.
Let's see here, yeah, man. Let me just get this all lined up accordingly. You know what I mean? Of course, but we got you in live in action. So big up to Honey Jam, man. Honey Jam's 30th anniversary. Honey Jam is a showcase platform for young aspiring artists, particularly females, and they've been doing it for quite some time. Some notable people who have gone through the doors of Honey Jam or Nelly Furtado, Jesse Reyes. I'm sure you probably know some other folks.
Julie
What are some
Black,
names that come to mind? Julie Black. Yep.
yeah, Estero, like just a lot of the women. I think I've seen
Oh,
a
Stero. Oh my God. Whatever happened to her, man? Ooh, that's a good one, man.
Estero.
Stero, man.
Actually, I'll tell you quickly what happened to her. I heard she moved to LA, and I mean, like not. I don't know about now, but I know at a point in time she linked up with Kanye West around his first and second album, and she was doing. I heard she did the vocals for his tour. I saw the tour concert, his
Oh,
Glow in
okay.
the Dark tour. He had
Word.
this like, yeah, the stage was a robot. It was like this female voice, and I heard that was her who did it.
Okay.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I heard she was in LA, like living a pretty good life, doing some random gigs. So, but yeah, that's that. I mean, that was like eight years ago. So I don't know what she is doing now. Probably still in Toronto. I mean, LA. Yeah.
Okay. That's what's up. That's what's up, man. But yeah, so Honey Jam has been doing their thing, man. Big up to Ebony and all the hard work. Cause like to do something this consistent for
30 years.
decades. That's pretty insane and pretty powerful, man. Just even like Stolen from Africa has been around for 20 years, which is kind of crazy to think about. And I know the ups and downs and challenges, but when you believe in something, like that's really the fire that keeps things blazing you know when things don't look like they're where it doesn't look like there's a pathway. It's that fire, that determination that you just know that this is a calling, something important. So big up to Ebony for sticking with her vision, because I'm sure she could have quit many times, multiple times. Like I know that's what happens in the mind, but just to be able to push forward and to see where these types of platforms and how much they've contributed to artists, particularly female artists, particularly black female artists in particular. It's just incredible. So with that being said, we got a little bit of content. We didn't get like an exclusive interview per se with Sad Boy. Shout out Sad Boy, who is doing it right now, and like she has all hitting all the check boxes, for superstardom and coming right out of our own city. She's a Juno award-winning artist, fresh off the Junos, fresh off her own tour. I know that she's been involved with Fashion Week and Paris and whatnot. So she's doing some big things. And not to mention, her mom Dukes is her manager, fam. Like, you know what I
Salute,
mean?
kebab.
So Mindbender, as usual, you know what I mean? When we're in these situations, we like to just kind of, make something happen, and you're able to ask some exclusive questions that invoke thought and really give some authentic responses. So I'm gonna play some of this. I may not play the whole thing, but little
Yeah, give her a
taste
little,
to show, just to show folks that we're here online, but we're also in real life. We're in the digital and the physical. All right, so
so
that's
we
how
outside and we inside.
we outside and we inside, man. You know what I mean? As the Rastas say, man, it's like an overstand, understand.
Yo, for real. We
My
everywhere.
brethren Logic, we up here representing Stolen from Africa, Reminisce show, because we go capture this Toronto history all day, every day. We're going to check this Honey Jam interview with the one and only Sad Boy. Gonna get some insights, some music, and hopefully get a little exclusive or one or two. But you know, we in the streets, so we here capturing this Toronto history. Enough love to everybody who tunes in. Mwah.
And this is Stolen from Africa.
Buddies. All I hear around is buddies. They all my time.
Thanks very much for the vulnerability and talking about how your first heartbreak, unfortunately, helped to create your sad boy persona. And I was just wondering how your growth as an artist over your career has affected your ability to have relationships and connect to people.
Dating someone who is an artist is not that's one thing like I learned. But I think like, you know, like from like my experiences, I just find like
Commercials.
Rasta.
Happy when you're monetized. When you're monetized.
there's almost like a competition. Like at least like from like my standpoint, like I haven't been in a situation where I feel like it's like supported. Like I just feel like whenever I've dated someone that was like in the industry, they're just kind of like, you're not really doing
Listening
this
attentively.
especially, sorry. But it's just
Drop
like,
the
you're
truth,
not, like,
drop
up
the
to
truth.
par. Like you're not doing like, yeah, like you have this going on, but I have this. So I think like for me, like I kind of just got to a place where it's like, what is it that I want, and what do I need like in a relationship, and I just like go off of that. But outside of that, it's just living, you know, like I'm young, just enjoy it, be in the moment, because I think it's easy to get wrapped up in like the politics of like, you know, that stuff. So yeah.
I hope you're loved and appreciated.
I've always been like a fan of like fashion. So like even when it comes to like my music, I think naturally it's just something that like I'm drawn to. So like I always like name drop whatever my favorite designer is at the time, like in my songs, or like I make sure like I'm wearing something that like, you know, someone who's like big up there will be like, oh, Sad Boy wear this. Like we have to get out here for Fashion Week. But I do want to like, you know, continue to like grow outside of like music. I always said if I was to be in a movie, like I'd have to be in like a thriller movie. Because I just can't, I don't think like I could do like comedy. Like I just don't think I'm like funny. But I
You're
think
funny,
like,
girl. You're funny.
You think so?
Yeah.
But I think I could do like thriller or like maybe like a Mr. and Miss Smith. Like that's like my vibe. Like, I have to do something like that.
You play a hit woman.
But yeah, like for sure, going outside of like that is like something that I do want to do at some point, and am working towards. But for me, like
Okay, well, I'm gonna pause that for a quick second.
Cool.
He's dropping a lot of gems, man. You know something? I can 100% see her in a thriller. Like I would love to see her in like Sinners Part 2 or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh, that
I
was-
think that she could really hold down that slot. Like I'm gonna put that in the air, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I can, and I think she would take it very serious. Like she'd be like, "Ooh, yeah, let's do this." You know,
No,
slaying vampires and ting, and you know what I mean?
definitely. No, she has that serious energy. Like, you know, and I don't say this lightly, man, but she has that like that Aaliyah cool, like
Mm,
like that.
mm,
Aaliyah was, you know, queen of the vampire, the queen of the damn. Like she played a vampire. Super.
right.
So like, you know, that kind of serious, slim, like sultry, smooth kind of look. Like she gives off that energy real hard, and also a bit of that tomboy flex. You know, like
100%. You know, she carries like all of the above, like, you know, and you know, just like what was described you know, throughout the session there is that, you know, like there people are asking like what's her brand and all these things, and like she just does her thing, and that actually is the brand, and that's what makes her so unique. You can't really put her in a box, and I think some of the best artists are that, like, you know, it's not just one thing, like yourself, you know what I mean? Like you're not just one that you can't really put you in a box. Like, you know what I mean? Like you do too much. Like there's too much to even do that, right? Same thing for someone like myself, you know, like I do so much different variations. Like we're creatives. Like that's really what it boils down to. So there's going to be different branches and different focuses depending on our mood, our energy, like our thoughts, you know, of what direction that's going to. And that to me is a superpower. You know what I mean? Like it gives us a lot of spaces to exist authentically. A lot of people can't do that authentically. It's like really like performative, and they gotta, you know, pretend to be someone that they're not. But a question for you I want to throw in was, you know, Sad Boy's response to like not dating artists. You know, I'm curious to know what's your thoughts on that, like being an artist and like, you know, dating an artist, and you know, like do you have any like experience or challenges with that, or do you agree with her? Like what's
I mean, yeah, I kind of feel like it's kind of it's not an all or nothing, but I feel like it's for a lot of the musicians that I know and actors and artists, it's like they either exclusively don't date people in the industry or they exclusively do date people in their industry. I
interesting?
don't feel like they don't kind of think they mix it up too much.
Right.
And I know some actors are like, yo, I can only date an actor because they're the only people who understand my life. And yeah, like I've heard so I've heard it both ways, but like I like I said, like it's rare that some people, like only the occasional person is like, I'm just gonna be a multimillionaire and then just like date a regular person. Just like but it's cool when that happens. Yeah, I know that I'm leaning more towards like people who understand my lifestyle and who are in it. I'm definitely there. Like,
would you find that like artists to understand you more, or people like outside of, you know, that kind of scope, or is it like
I hate to say, I literally I was just shout out to the artist that I was with today though. I was with a lover and she was great, and she's also an artist, and yeah, she has like a fantastic understanding. We never had any. It's probably like 6 or 7 months that we knew each other and like shared things, and never had one disagreement or one conflict conversation over like my porn stuff or my, you know, concert stuff or just whatever. Just me going out, like just popping up to some event yesterday, and I got a free movie ticket yesterday, and then I went to it, and I'm like, yo, I wanted to get together with them, and I'm like, I gotta come like after this movie event. I ran, like I do some press stuff.
Right.
She's like, oh, that's totally fine, that's cool, I'll show up after. And like, I don't feel like too many like civilian people fully understand the artistic lifestyle and the entertainment world lifestyle. So yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, one thing's for sure, like relationships definitely help you understand yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's like boundaries, things, you know, expectations and compromise. You know, these are all things that come with the territory. You know?
Yeah. You said it. There's a word that I had in my head, but I'm gonna hold your word to it because it's the two things that I think most people have to deal with in what the choices they make. You said compromise, and I was just gonna say sacrifice. And there's certain things you have to fully give up, and then there's certain things that you like negotiate. Like, hey, sometimes I could do this, sometimes I can't, man. It's like with some people, like compromises and sacrifices, you gotta like.
No, I think the negotiation is probably it, and then, you know, respecting certain boundaries and sticking to that. You know, sometimes, you know, there's needs and desires and things, and it's like, yeah, that's not the time right now, you know, and this is what it is. So yeah, the complexities, man. But going back to Sad Boy, I want to play the second part of this, where you get a chance to ask Sad Boy's mom, you know, because she's like, what do they call, like, what's the term they call, like the mom manager?
Momager. Yeah, momager.
Momager. Yeah. So I want to play a little bit of that.
It's great to see you as a supportive mother to your amazing daughter. And I was just thinking over, like, we've seen parental child, from the Jacksons, Papa Jackson wasn't the best. But we've also seen Britney Spears and her situation and stuff. And from what I can tell, it looks like a very healthy situation. But like, what do you do as a mother to kind of like make sure you don't follow some of the more problematic situations that have happened in the past where parents and children have been working together?
Well, to be honest, I was never into music. I listened to it, but it was never anything that I wanted to do personally myself. So, and she's actually the first person in our family that's even doing any of these things. I was in banking for almost 20 years. And so, I mean, she's my daughter first. And so for me, it's always been what's like, I've always been worried about her, like always worried about her. Like before actually managing her, she was actually managed by an actual company that was, you know, official. Like they knew what they were doing. She was underage, so I still went everywhere with her. And like I would kind of watch from the outside, but seeing what's happening. But I mean, like she's the most important person or thing to me, like in everything in life, right? So, you know, she didn't mention it, but when the question was asked about like a time that was really challenging, you know, right before the name change, she was dropped from her first record deal, and that started a really bad. I don't know if you want. It was a depression. Like she got really skinny. I've never seen her look so bad, but that was so music. Everything else had
that was wild
because her health, right? And so I think that I can't really speak for, apart from what everybody else probably would have read about the past and other artists and their, you know, momagers or their fathers, whatever, managing them. But I can just say for Eb, it's just like, and the same thing for me. If we're somewhere and somebody disrespects me and it's happened, I mean, watch out for her more than you're looking at me, right? But I just think that it's just like one of those things where it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but I just think, like I said, like the beginning, I think it's just that we did everything together. So she understands the business. So I think there's no like making her or asking her to do something that just is not right. Even like sometimes she might not want to do, but if it's wrong, you can't get her to do it. She won't. I honestly think for me, like we're a team. So I think we're a team on like a lot of things, even just outside of music. I don't necessarily, like now it's a bit different. I think she's a lot busier and like we both are busier. And so we have more like defined roles, but I would say that like for the longest time, we did everything together. So it was like, what do you think about this? Or like, oh, this email came in, you wouldn't believe it. Or, you know, or she would say something to me about something. And I think that we kind of grew together. I would say that more recently, she's definitely my boss, but it works. Because I think that maybe it's, you know, I think the nice, it's funny listening to her talk because there's so many things that she's just, I feel like she's not saying or not coming, I don't hear it as much because she's truly a super strong person. And I think that I've learned a lot from her. And I think that like as we go through whatever it is happening day by day, I think she is the one who pushes me forward.
Okay, man, we'll pause right there, man. If y'all want to watch the remainder of that, you already know, man, Stone from Africa YouTube channel. As you can see, man, the channel's monetized, man, so the commercials pop up, man. Make sure y'all click and subscribe, all that good stuff. Got to do a little drop, though. But, yo, Mom Dukes is dropping some serious bars, and it's so interesting. It's like only a mom can get away with saying something like that, where you know, she's saying that, yeah, like going through like this depression and whatnot. And I thought that was a really like authentic, you know, comment that's needed, right? Because as artists, yeah, like we do go through like crazy depressions, you know, on many different things, and it's part of the journey. And oftentimes we don't really see those like authentic conversations. But her being the mother to recognize that, to be like, okay, you know what, like self-care and mental health and all that is going to be the priority now, you know, first and foremost, and we're going to work through that together. And just like that other comments of her watching her child, because I mean that's her child, but also her boss, which is the interesting dynamic. But like, you know, she gets to see like all angles of Sad Boy. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that, again, like she doesn't project or what she does and whatnot. And as she mentioned, she's like, yo, like, you know, it's interesting watching her because, you know, there's a lot of things that she's gone through and overcome, and she's just being like reserved and whatnot, and so she can kind of like add on from that perspective. And like I said, only a mom can get away with that. Like a manager couldn't get away with that. But because it's Mom Dukes and Caribbean mother as well, that there's Caribbean moms, man, like they're just gonna they're just gonna speak the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like how they see it. What I mean? But I'm curious to know, like, well, what's your perspectives on this like dynamic and how they're working the energy?
It looks really healthy, and the mom has one of the most level-headed approaches that I've seen. It sounds like they really have established their boundaries, and they really respect them, and they know when they, step across them, and if they have to. It sounds like they're just like, yo, if I have to be a mom right now, I have to be a mom, but otherwise, I'm gonna be like the business connection, and it sounds much more balanced than the situations I was bringing up. And it was really healthy to hear. It was just really dope to hear the mom be like, I ain't trying to like, I didn't have musical aspirations. I got my, I came from business. So it sounds like she's just like down to earth and just, not only like supportive of the person that you would want the way a manager would be supportive, but it's like, yo, that's your family member. That's also your daughter. So it's like, yeah, it sounds like super healthy, and it just made me more interested. Like, yo, this is dope. I say, like, it's really wild because you just kind of made me realize. I knew it. I called on Sunday, but today is my mom's birthday.
Oh snap! Hey,
Yeah,
big
man.
up, big up, big up.
Today is when you just said Caribbean mom, I was like, yeah, and I looked at the date. I was like, oh shit, yeah, like May 13th is my mom's
Yeah.
birthday. So I'm gonna call my mom's after this, and but yeah, yo, my mom is.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, Caribbean moms, it's like, what I mean, if you're like lost way, be like, boy, you look so maga, and like, yo, they don't hold no bars back, man. They're just like, yo, it's like, oh, you looking fatty, like, what I'm saying, like, it's like, oh, can we just like be a little cool? But it's just that raw honesty.
Like,
That's a very Caribbean thing, you know what I mean? So when she's like, "This is the worst I've ever seen her," I'm like, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, only a moms can get away with that type of comment, and to understand like the context. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no doubt, it came from a place of care for sure.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
like, and like she didn't dwell on it. She's just like, yo, I've seen my daughter in her best days and her worst days, and like, it gets real sometimes. And it was just like, oh, yo, I was like, yo, I don't like Sad Boy didn't really like. She talked about her heartbreak, but she didn't talk about like her weight loss. Like, I was like, yo, mom dropped the like most kind of
I mean, for sure, like that's a really like sensitive topic, but I think it's like important, but also to know the importance of having like support systems around you when you're going through that. So like not to like isolate and put yourself in a kind of a darker position, which I'm sure a lot of us have, and I've done that, to myself quite a bit of times, just isolating and realizing that, yo, that's not it, man. Reach out to people that surround you, people that know you and support you and love you and care about you, all that good stuff, man. And well, for me, like, it's like you nailed it, man. It's just like a model example of parent and teen or young adults, because as parents, like, we go from this space of of control, because it's like you have to like think for your child in many cases because they're young, they don't understand the world as yet, and then you get to a space where it's like you're more like a guide, and that's always a tricky space where because also playing the stories of your own experiences of things that you don't want them to go through, whatever that's like heartbreak or just different things, like, no, you got to do this and watch out for da. But the truth is like they have their own lives, and we have to make sure that we're not putting our own ideologies like onto them, like, to be a way to recognize their talents and gifts and to like nurture that, help them, grow into who they need to be. And like you said, like this, Mom Dukes is doing a fantastic job of that and recognizing, some of her, I don't want to say weaknesses, but places of the music scene that she may not have like the knowledge. So she mentioned that. I didn't have this in the clip though, because I just focused this clip centered around your questions, you know what I mean? Because it's Reminisce show, SFA and all that. But she did mention about the importance of having I think she mentioned about like 5 key people that she reaches out to, people that have been supporting them from like the beginning
Right.
and that she trusts. So anytime there's like a decision-making opportunity, she's like, oh, we're making 5 calls. And I thought that's like a genius takeaway. And I think anybody who's in the music scene or even just life, you're going through certain things, to have like a certain amount of people, because 5 different perspectives, by the time you're done like the 5th call, you're like, okay, we know what to do now. And that's genius. And to also have the awareness to know that, hey, I don't have all the answers. It doesn't make you inferior or less knowledgeable. Matter of fact, that's like pure wisdom, to acknowledge that you don't have the answer and you're seeking that. So I think,
hell yeah, man.
yeah.
I mean, we've seen some like there's so many of our hip hop heroes. I find like, like some of the biggest names look back and be like, these guys have made major mistakes. Like all of them.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, literally right now, I think what we're talking, we're in like one of the worst epidemics of, Kanye West doesn't seem to have 5 people to talk to kind of get his head clear, and like
Perfect example, man.
like
Yeah.
literally, I'm like, I think about Dr. Dre all the time. I think about like my hip hop heroes I love. I'm like, man, like once you get too big in your own head, you don't have like a council to really guide your decisions. And then it's like it's never like nobody. It's not an all or nothing thing. It's just like, man, like sometimes you might be making like a bunch of bad decisions in a row because you don't have friends, but like you're not bankrupt or you're not like in jail or anything, but it's just like things could be better. And I didn't know much about Sad Boy until you brought it to my attention. Every song I played, every clip I played, everything I saw, I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. Hey, this is pretty creative. This is pretty solid. Hey, this is I was like, this shit is like, well, I didn't hear, I heard her being herself. I heard her being herself more than being like, oh, this is a clone of Nicki Minaj or this is a clone of
Right.
Cardi B or Lotto or something. I'm like, she's just doing her thing. She's got her vibe, and like be like, okay, like not only is the artistry good, but we see the business, and it's like, she got a good head with her business people. So it's like, this is why it's growing from Toronto to Atlanta and winning awards and just like going up.
Yeah.
Like, this is the kind of stuff that should be supported. This is like healthy new generation young black music. This is great. I was just like, I just became a fan more and more of like, I'm not like playing it like I play Nas, but like, I was, I hope this girl wins. This shit is dope. This is solid.
That's the realest right there. And for me, when it comes to like artists, like I'm always more interested in their mind than their art. The art's all the the fun stuff, like the projection or whatever. But it's not until I hear them speak, and share a bit about themselves, like that's what makes me a fan and someone I'm like, okay, I want to support this. And like you said, like, with Sad Boy, I remember I've seen her posters like around, like Spotify had some like posters and they used her as a cover. And I was like, Sad Boy, that's an interesting name. But the name always stuck with me because it's like Sad Boy, and it's like, young female. And I'm like, okay, but it worked, I mean, like you remember it right off the top. So that's genius, like marketing right there. And then of course the story that goes behind it. So, but aside from that, like I never, I wasn't inclined to listen to her music or anything like that until this opportunity came about. As a matter of fact, she had a show during the Departure Festival, and shout out to Johnny Project T Dot. He was trying to get me some tickets for her show that was, I think, on Thursday at the Drake Hotel, and he got approved. Like, he got 2 tickets, but then at the last minute they like revoked the ticket somehow and be like, oh, it was an error on our behalf. I was like, how do you send a confirmation email and then take back the tickets? I was kind of cheesed with that.
Yeah,
but then I was like, yeah, that was mad weird, But then when I saw that, there's going to be in conversation, with Honey Jam, I'm like, okay, bet, and it's free. Oh, come on, that's a no brainer. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad. It would have been nice to see, the performance live as well, and then to have that with, the in conversation. But I'm really, I'm glad. And for her to be on stage with her mom, I think it was super exclusive. I don't think they've done that before. Maybe they
Yeah,
have, but
that was
I doubt it.
that was a real good look. That doesn't happen very often, and yeah, it was very insightful. They dropped quite a few jewels that I was like, yo, this is this is worth hearing. This is these people are, because that's the thing, man. I mean, it's just, you know, I don't even think it's there's like there's the there's people that we can be critical of, like the music, the hip hop music that we're hearing in this day and age, and there's a variety of reasons and reasons not to be critical of it, just to be like, hey, you know, let's just try to make the best of it what it is, even at the same time if we're recognizing the differences of the music coming out now versus a time when a 19-year-old Nas and 19-year-old Prodigy and a 21-year-old Q-Tip are doing their thing. You know, it's a different time, sure. But like being critical of the music industry, I think is way easier because it's like, yo, it's like there's a lot of corruption in Spotify and all this fuckery. Like, but at the same time, like it's just really good to see an example of people like cutting through all the fuckery and just really like winning by being real.
That's
And
it.
like it's hard to see that, and I just saw this and I was like, yo, man, like it's I just wish them the best. So, and I was just like, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna take a couple notes from your book there. There's a few things they said I was like being in my head. It's just like I'm gonna just like learn from y'all because that's tight. And yeah, like it's yeah, the last thing I'll say is it's really dope to see somebody who is like visually really like sharp and stuff, because you know these so many people nowadays, like it's all visual.
Yeah, yeah,
But like they're like, all right, the visuals are tight, but like once the visuals are done, I'm still about some real shit. Like
yeah, yeah.
it's not all like visual and TikTok videos and like
Right.
it's like fashion look, and then you listen to the shit and it's like, yo, man, this person ain't saying shit. And then
Tim.
to be honest, I don't even mind. I'm putting my opinion out there. Like it's like ASAP Rocky is a kind of dude who I'm like, yo, man, this guy is so much about his looks, and I don't find his rhyming is very good, and I don't.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, but so yeah, man. Shout out Sad Boy.
Shout him out, man. Shout out, man. And the last thing I'll just say, man, is you know, as a father with, you know, teenager and a soon to be teenager, yeah, like just that dynamic, that parental relationship, and you know, the like negotiations and you know, where it's like parental guidance, but then also, you know, supporting them becoming their own like person and adult and decisions and own responsibilities as well. I think it's like a really great display of that, you know. So, you know, it's a good example for those who will be watching and, you know, are raising teenagers or, you know, young adults and whatnot and finding that balance, you know. So big up
Yo,
to them.
you're right. I just thought it's like the two examples. It's like you teach your kid how to ride a bike and then you let them ride the bike, and then you teach your kid how to drive a car and then you let them drive a car. It's like,
That's it. And you can't, you know what I'm saying? Like, where are you driving to? Like, where are you going now? And it's like, they're going to explore.
yeah,
That's what they're going to do.
yeah, that's it. They're gonna you taught them to drive so they could drive. They go and drive.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the best way to put 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's peace. Coming up, I know that there's like the Roots show. That's you know, we saw that we saw that flyer. So I'm gonna see if I can work some media magic. I found a couple links or whatever. I'm gonna let these people know that hey, Reminisce show is here, man. We're consistent. We're bringing a voice to the community. You know, we got the consistency and the quality. You know, that's gonna be my you know, way of negotiating and
Yes,
you know,
sir.
establishing, you know, authority, right? It's like consistency and quality, you know.
Yep.
So that's what we're about, and
Make
we
them
want to tell these stories. You know?
make them an offer they can't refuse. Like,
That's it, man. So I'm hoping that you know I could like name drop you, and people are like, oh, like Mr. Front Row. It's like yeah, like we need you. You know what I mean? We need like your appearance. You know, like I just picture eventually there's like like a velvet rope like section in the front row that's like designated for you, and you come in with this like slanted crown like this.
yeah, for real.
Yo,
Like,
hey, anything's possible, man. It's like, oh,
just
yo, it's Mr. Front Row, man. Like, knows all the lyrics, all the bars, man. Like, rapping it better than the artist.
straight up, man. Just elevate the vibe, and just I'm just gonna
That's
make
it, elevating the
it better.
vibe, you know.
Like
When
I
the artist like forgets their lyrics, they're like looking at you.
got you. I got you. I mean, I don't say it a lot myself, man, but people have said it. Like I'm gonna say it because people have said it. But I mean, some people are like, it's not a hip hop show unless Mindbender's here, and I'm like, yeah, it is, but on a certain level, like I try to always bring
I've
a great
yo,
vibration there, and I never want to take away from the vibe, and it's like maximum love. So
moving forward, I'm gonna try my best to like capture you in those elements so I can have like a montage of like you in the front row. Because honestly, people need to understand, and I know a lot of people can relate to me. Like you'll be at the show and like watching your favorite artist, whatever, but then you'll be in the corner, like just going off. And like sometimes that's more entertaining to watch than the actual like artist. And I know some people can like relate to me, man, because I'm not like, yo, this guy, like you're just so into it. And it's like, is he? I'm sure some people will look at you and it's like, is he really like that, or is he just being extra? It's like, no, he's
yeah,
really like
like there's I give a 0.0 fucks. I don't like the same song playing. I don't care if there's one person there or
that.
1,000.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love that song that much, and that's how I rap it. When I'm
yeah,
here at home, I'm always doing that. I'm like, don't you? I'm like in my head, I'm like, don't you love these Nas songs like this? Are you crazy? Like when fucking when that this is how we do every day, all day. Hallucination,
oh
Smith
man,
and Wesson, I shine, you shine. When
oh,
that's
it
so
gets me
that song,
emotional, man.
no, for real. Like I'm like, I have loved that song forever. I'm like, I will always. So Smith and Wesson are doing that, and I'm like
Yeah,
rhyming it with all of my energy. And I looked over and I saw Cormega watching me. Cormega was just like, he was just
yeah,
staring at me. He's just like totally into me. And I was like, I didn't even break. I'm like, oh shit, Cormega's watching me. And I was like, bro, I fucking love this song. Like,
right.
and I will rap it with all of my breath forever. And like, I'm like, that's just how I do, man. I don't like what the fuck.
100%, man. No,
So like, yeah,
totally,
man,
bro.
you're right. And like, yeah, like I won't, we can start showing these people this. I want to be Toronto's like best, worst kept secret. And like, some people will be like,
Yeah, like if you know, and like for me, just on a reminisce show tip, like like we're definitely seasoned with some of the older artists, I mean, from the 90s, early 2000s and whatnot, but there's like a whole new wave of new artists, and you know I'm really focused on this like intergenerational vibe, and also like being able to predict artists who are like, yeah, they're gonna blow up. Watch, what I mean, it's like, I told y'all, man, I told y'all. Just like with Sad Boy, man, like we told y'all, like she's destined for it, destined for it. And for us, man, I want to be more in tune with like all the new artists, because Toronto, like these new artists are coming up in a whole new environment where if they play their cards right, man, they can really do their thing, and when it comes to like artist success, like you just need, like, what is saying, like, you have like a core 1,000 people that are consistently supporting you and whatever, like, yo, like you can really like live off of that, so these I mean, it's great to be superstardom and whatnot, but if you play your cards right locally, you build your community around that, man, like things could be blessed, so it's all about building that community, what I mean, where your supporters are like collaborating with your success as well. I think that's like a beautiful thing, man. So Toronto's coming up as always, man, and we're going to be right here, man, to document it. Reminisce show, Stolen from Africa, as well as Project T Dot. What I mean, if y'all haven't checked out the Project T Dot exhibit over at Billy Bishop Airport, I know there's some other things that are in the works, man, but Billy Bishop Airport is where it's at, and this is documenting Toronto hip hop culture, not just artists, man, but people who have contributed to the scene. So whether it's DJs, A&Rs, just folks, man, who have put their energy into it and to be recognized, man. So Project T Dot, look that up online. There's a lot of contents, and what I mean. Oh, speaking of which, last thing we'll say, man, is rest in peace to Big Apple.
yes,
I don't think we got to build on that last time, man, but rest in peace, man. Big Apple, cultural icon. Just super. Like he was a brand. He was. I don't even know how to explain it, man. He was just a force, man. Just a force to be reckoned with. You know, coming up in the late 90s, early 2000s, man, he had like the Big Apples World store over at Young and Grosvenor Street. And he would always come by the white Hummer that Drake has notoriously rapped about several times and bigged him up. He was someone who spent time, you know, in Toronto, New York, and Atlanta, you know, a lot of the spaces. And when it comes to like media and documenting stuff, you know, Swag News and I Am Not a Rapper. If y'all remember I Am Not a Rapper, like that's the guy, you know what I'm saying? And just you know, I wasn't close with Apple by any means though, but I've definitely been around him, you know, a couple times, and you know, vicariously through people like Born King. Born King was really close with him, and you know, I mean, he was just a force, man. That's all I can really say, man. A real force, like a one of one, and just his, you know, ability to just navigate through different like spaces and to like amplify, you know, voices was just like incredible, you know. And he started off as a rapper too, you know what I mean? Like he said, I'm not a rapper, man, but he started off a rapper, you know. We got the music videos, the receipts, and all that.
Apples
You know
and
what I mean?
oranges,
Oranges, man, yeah.
I gotta I gotta co-sign all of that. I worked with Apple for a while, and I wasn't close to him in the final years, but like definitely probably about 10 years ago, I was writing for Apple's magazine, and I would
Yeah.
also buy mixtapes from Apple's store, and it was downtown here, so one of the downtown stores, like I would definitely get some stuff, and I supported his business. And I had memories sitting down at tables with him and just, you know, talking about who we wanted to interview and stuff and how we made this rap magazine. I also got to thank Apple for connecting me to probably two of my most important interviews I've ever done in my life. Like he linked me up for an interview with Jerry Heller, like
Okay.
like Easy E's Jerry Heller, and like
Wow.
I had a conversation with Jelly Herrer, who has also passed away, R.I.P. But I had a
Yeah.
conversation that I'll never forget with that man, and that was some real shit. And then also with a guy named Gobi, who was Tupac's video director for the last 6 months of his life, and was like right beside Tupac when he was in the hospital as he was shot, and shot I think Tupac's last 4 or 5 music videos. And that guy just dropped super jewels in my life, and it was because of Apple that I got to have some of these great interviews. So like Swag was real, and I got to, last time I saw Apple was actually when we were at the OVO Fest. So
Right. Yeah. No, I think I saw him after that. I think, but yeah, that was definitely a memorable moment for sure.
that's when I saw him in the wheelchair there, and I got to hail him up there, but I never got to see him again since there. So shout out to Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got some wild memories with that dude. Not super wild, not like crazy, but good ones, journalistic ones. So peace to
No
them.
doubt, man. I'm not a rapper, man. So,
Yep,
and
yep.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, like his funeral will probably be happening at some point. So, you know, hopefully we can, you know, pay some respects and whatnot. Keep y'all posted with that. And yeah, man.
All
That's
right,
what's up, man. That's what's up. Anything else to add, man, before we shut down?
I think that's about it, man. Real quick, shout out to the Knicks, and shout out to the Maple Leafs. Hopefully they
Oh
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, that's the last thing we'll say. Maple Leafs, man. I'm not sure. Is there a game tonight? I'm not sure if it's
I think
tonight
so.
or.
I think tonight.
Okay, well, hopefully, you know what I'm saying? Leafs win. We bring that back to Toronto, because something that I want to do, we want to do, is be in the Leaf Gardens while all this is happening, and, you know, just do some live on location, because this is that Toronto energy. Don't worry, we're going to make it hip hop related. You know what I'm saying? We're going to test people's knowledge, you know, about hip hop in Toronto and all that good stuff. But I think just being in there will be like, you know, a really interesting vibe. You know what I mean? So get some of that Toronto spirit, and again, being live on location. So that's what's up, man. So we'll leave it like that. Signing off, man. Reminisce show, Stolen from Africa, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, live. I go by Logic, and I'm here with my brother.
Mindbender Supreme. What up?
That's it, man. That's it, man. So we're gonna sign off like that. Peace to everyone who's been supporting us, man. Like I didn't even realize, man, we've been doing this live like every week for 4 years, bro. Like it's like 4 years.
Yes,
You know?
sir. This is
I
great.
kind of lost count of like when the actual like first date was, but I know it's like been 4 years, man. So we're gonna keep going and building, man. And I'm telling you, man, all this is gonna pay off. It's just gonna snowball and being like, all right, before you know it, we're getting calls to different festivals and be like, oh man, I can't make that festival, man, because I got this and that. But it's okay though. I'm gonna send some people. I'm gonna send some people.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? We're still gonna cover, man. So that's what's up, man. We're gonna keep doing it, doing what we do.
That's how
All
I
right.
feel.